Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Melo Meresco. We have another awesome guest today. We have Anali. She's a civil engineer, she's a content creator, and she's a blogger, which I'm super excited to learn more about
Oh
each of
yeah,
them. So, with that being said, Anali, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. It's Friday. I'm in Texas. It's cloudy, but I'm excited for the weekend. So
Yeah.
I'm just really happy today.
Yeah, I can say I can feel like the energy too. So I'm super excited about that. So let's start with the first question. How did you get started with like civil engineer, like kind of like the timeline of how you doing all of this, and then we go from there.
Yeah, so I'm originally from a border town in Texas, called Del Rio, Texas. So if you're like not familiar with Texas, we're huge. We're number one, and then like number two, like there's like a valley of Texas, and that's where Grupo Frontera's from. So I'm not from that area, but everyone thinks that because it's called Del Rio, everyone like assumes that it's like kind of close to that area. It's very like Hispanic or Latinx in that area. And my town was also like about 96% Hispanic or Latinx. The 4% is mostly from the Air Force Base. So they're not like really like a part of the community as much. But I loved growing up there. We're about an hour from Uvalde. So like I guess that's like the closest thing to us that people like know, which is yeah, it's just like kind of sad now. But I loved growing up there. My parents are both from Mexico. My mom, she's a CEO of a credit union in Del Rio, and then my dad is a civil engineer. So he went to school in Saltillo, Coahuila, and he was actually like a part of the first class of civil engineers to graduate
Oh
from that
wow.
college. Yeah, so they like it's really cool. So
Yeah.
I mean, my whole life, like since I was little, like I don't know, I kind of looked up to both my parents. Like I always knew like college was a possibility. Like having a job where I could be a CEO, like there was really no limits. Like thanks to like what I saw from my parents, like they really worked so hard to get there. But like I don't know why, like what my dad did like was kind of more interesting to me. Like it kind of always like looked cooler, and I started going to work with him when I was about 14, just kind of like
Oh
looking
wow.
around, seeing what was up. And I really liked what he did. The thing I liked the most, I think, was that he got to be outside and like he got to be like on construction sites or just out on sites.
Yeah.
And that intrigued me. And I don't know like what about it since when I was little like really got me, in that space. So when it like came time for me to graduate, my parents were I'm the oldest of three. And then they were really, there was really no option for me, which like now I wish like they would have given me more of an opportunity to explore different careers. Like that would have been cool.
Yeah.
But they didn't really give me that option. They were kind of like business or engineering. Um, that's kind of it. And I just liked engineering more. And I remember I came to Austin, to the University of Texas at Austin to visit. And they like were showing all the different engineers, like the engineering types on these slides, and they got to the civil engineering one, and there was like a homeboy wearing like dreads with like a banjo, and I was like, yes, that's the one, that's the one I want to be. So I started in civil engineering, and like I took 5 years in college. i
Oh wow.
i took my time. It was really hard for me. Honestly, it was really difficult. I'm not a test taker. I'm not good at tests. But I mean, I made it through, but in college, I joined a Latina sorority called Kappa Delta Chi Sorority Incorporated, and that was kind of my first time that I got to like explore my other creative outlets, and I was rush chair, so I was in charge of like recruiting people.
Okay.
um and with that, like one of our duties was like, oh, create like social or create flyers. Back then it was like flyers. We would like make flyers to hand out, which is wild. And we had like Instagram and Facebook, but it was like really early on. And video like type of now, like I went to like one of their events recently, and their video production is on point. Like it's like wow, like they're creating these videos now. But back in the day, you know, it was just like kind of flyers and marketing the old school way. But I don't know, I liked it.
Mm,
It was something that I never knew about myself, I guess. I've always been a writer though. Like I have diaries from, you know, when I was little up
yeah.
until like through college. I actually have them upstairs. I took them all from my parents' house, but like I've always been a writer, so like I knew like that was something I was interested in.
Mm.
And so yeah, like flash forward to like 2010, I really like dating. Like I was like into dating. I love boys. Like I was like, oh yeah. And I started my first blog, and it was like on this website called Zanga. So like it's like no longer around, but it was like kind of like MySpacey, but like a blog, right? And so you
Mm.
could like do HTML and coding, but it was a blog style. And then I started, and it was called Confessions of a Serial Dater. So I would like go on dates and like do a blog post every time about my dates. And it was bad though, because I got to a point that like some of the homies that I was going on dates with knew that I had this site. And one of them like reached out and was like, "You're really like," because I said something about I'm gonna date as much as I can to find the love of my life. Like
Mm.
I think that's important. That was something that I told like my younger nieces and nephews too. Like, don't be ashamed to date. Like your family will be like, "Hi, like anda por allá," whatever, but like no, like I really was like no, if I want to find like the love of my life, I'm gonna date. Like I don't care what y'all say. And but one of the homies did reach out and was like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, I didn't know you were reading. um but yeah, and so in 2012, so like I'm in engineering, right? So like classes are usually like all dudes, very
Mm.
like very like not that very many women, and then in labs like they're littler, so like there's really no
Oh
women.
wow.
So like I had just gotten broken up with, whatever, I hope he's doing well. And I was like running late, and I get to class this lab. It's the first day, and I'm like looking for like I look in the room and I'm looking for seats next to the girls in the class, and I couldn't see any, and there was only one seat open, and it was like in the middle of these like a row of guys, and I was like, oh whatever. So I sit down and I look, and there's like a light skin, like who I thought was white, a homeboy next to me, and I was like, oh, he's cute, like that's cute. And then they put us like in a group like
Mm.
for the rest of the semester, like the four of us, and that guy was in my group. Turns out that he was Colombian, and he spoke Spanish, and I was like, you're not Mexican, but you sound like you're obviously Latin. And yeah, so he became my boyfriend, and now I'm married to him. And but at that point, like I had to like reevaluate my blog, right? Like
Mm.
I wasn't dating anymore, and I was like, man, I don't know what I want to do. So I kind of took a few years like before, like, you know, I graduated. Obviously I graduated, and then I honestly did it for me. It wasn't that hard to find a job. I graduated in 2012, so
Mm.
it was like it was already coming back up. And one of my professors, like a lot of people didn't like her because she was like really hardcore. Like
Mm.
she was just hardcore. She graded really mean. Like she just was a mean professor, you know. But she one day she like emailed the class, like who can babysit my kids, and like no one responded, and I was like, I can. And it was like at school, like while she had a presentation. And
Mm.
then when I graduated, she sent out like a job like opportunity. And so I wrote to her and I was like, oh, I'm interested. I still don't have a job. And she's like, you're the only one that responded to like babysitting my kids. Like I'm gonna like give a really good reference for you.
Yeah. Oh
And
wow.
so I ended up like going to interview for that job, and I was actually gonna move back home. Like me and my husband, but at the boyfriend at the time, we weren't even official because
Mm.
I mean, we didn't know what was gonna happen. And I like literally in my apartment had everything packed up, like in boxes. And I was at Walmart, like I remember specifically, and I got the call like that I got the job and I got to stay in Austin, and I just was like, whoa, like. and it honestly, it changed everything. Because like, had I moved back home, like, I don't know what my life would be like,
Yeah.
you know, like, and and like, I love back home. Like, we have a ranch, and like, it's real Mexican, right? Like, my parents are there. But like, Austin, like, I fell in love with it since I moved here, and I never wanted to leave. And so like, I was honestly really sad, and I didn't think I would ever come back if I moved. And so when I got to stay here, I was like, yes, like, this is my home. And I knew like I was gonna live here like for as long as I could, you know. Um, and then in so I was just kind of engineering vibes or whatever. And I was really into like planners like at the time, like paper planners. And there's this company that has their headquarters here now, Erin Condren. They have a really bad name. I hope they hear this. I'm like, so now, but at the time, like they had like a really big community on Instagram, and I didn't really like I didn't really like mess with Instagram. I didn't know what Instagram was. I was just like posting like, you know, food pictures or whatever. And my sister was like, no, like, you know, she's 8 years younger than me. And she's like, oh, like Instagram's so cool. Like Instagram this. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I got on like for the planner stuff and like hashtag planner girls or hashtag planner, whatever. And I started like blogging about planning or planners. And that, so I changed my blog name to like Planner Girl, Latina Planner Girl, something about planning. And there was at the time, there was this group called Latina Bloggers Connect, and now they're called We All Grow. So like,
Oh, yeah.
yes, so like back in the day, like early on, dude, that was crazy. So I reached out to them and I'm like, hey, I just started a blog about like planning or planners for Latinas. Like I'm trying to, you know, connect with other Latinas who are into planning and planners.
Yeah.
Um, which was cool. And so they let me into like they had like a community, like it was more forum-y, like a forum website, and people would post like their blog post or
Yeah.
whatever. That's crazy. They've come so far too. But yeah, and so then like kind of started doing that. And then one day in like 2015, I knew that like I wanted to like kind of write stories like and tell stories about like Latinas, but most importantly my story, because I felt like other than Selena, like a Mexican American from Texas, like they're not in a like not in a mean way to Californians, but I feel like mainstream like just focuses a lot on California or Chicago or like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, for like Mexican Americans and women. And I just didn't feel like there was enough stories being told from the perspective of like Latinas living in Texas. And when I was little, like my mom, my parents just didn't talk to me about, you know, like sex, like mostly sex or like or you know, uncomfortable subjects like that. So what my mom would do was she would buy books and just give them to me and be like, here you go, bro, like good luck. And so she bought me this book, like, and I read it like when I was like 14, and it's called the Nueva Latinas Bible. And like it like trans like I have it. I don't remember who wrote it, but I'll send that to you because it's like
Yeah.
it like talks about like just being a Latina living in the United States basically, and it's like about sex, about working, about interviews, about negotiating your like stuff that like. And I was little and I reread it when I was in college, and then I reread it when I'm like as an adult too. Um but yeah, so the Nueva Latina, I was like, dude, like that's who I want to be. Like that's who I wanted to do. So in 2015, I officially started the Nueva Latina, and like it's been crazy. I mean, like back then, like it wasn't what I thought it was gonna be, or like I just kind of was interviewing people, like just kind of getting stories and doing stuff. And then in 2018, that's when I really like started seeing like what like kind of like narrowing what I want to do. Like I love music. Like music's like now looking back on my life, like had I been able to explore more, I probably would have like seen what I could do in music. Like it's like my life. But um yeah, like with blogging or with like the Nueva Latina, I was like, oh dude, I'm just gonna start applying to like concerts. So like I got to go see and photograph like Bad Bunny that year, Maluma,
Wow.
Mark Anthony, like all that year in 2018, just because I was
Wow.
like, I'm just gonna ask. I'm just gonna ask
Yeah.
and then see if they what they give me, the shot. And they did, and then I went to like I got invited to Shreveport, Louisiana, because they wanted like to bring people of color, like influencers and bloggers to explore Shreveport and like kind of show that they have like options for
Yeah.
everyone. So they flew me out there, and like
Wow.
that's when I kind of was like, okay, like I think I want to do this. Like I think I want to take this really serious and kind of be like I like influencing and blogging a lot. Like people like it's cool like getting paid or whatever, but like it's like with anything else, like engineering too, like I want somebody to be scrolling, like a little girl to be scrolling and being like, oh look, there's somebody that looks like me, at this event or at this
Yeah.
concert or like at this place. And like that's kind of like my motivation for it all. I know I talked a lot, but I hope
No.
I answered the question.
No, you did. You did. I have a quick question before I ask. Like the main question is like,
Yeah.
how did you like find out like because you did so much, but I feel like you were able to like explore, like have those connections. How did you do that? Because I feel like it's like with the applying to concerts and stuff. Like, how did you find out that was possible?
I didn't, I guess. Like I just so like for Bad Bunny, that was like or was it Maluma? I don't remember which one was first. I think it was Maluma. But like I literally went to the website of the venue, and then I was like looking for contacts. And then I like went like they usually have a press
Yeah.
like somewhere on their website, and I found it, and I found the email, and I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna email this person. And like I was like, hey, like I'm interested in writing about this concert. um I've never really done this, but like I have a nice camera and I kind of want to explore this. Like, let me know. And then they like for concerts, it's crazy, and it's still like this. Like they'll let you know like 1 or 2 days before. Like they will, and they still do this to this day. Like they don't even. So sometimes like Raul Alejandro, I got it like 2 days before, like last
Oh wow.
week, and I couldn't even go because I already had like things going on.
Yeah. Oh
And it's
man.
just like, dude, like, but yeah. And I just kind of found an email, and I just went with it. And like the travel one, it was weird because like as soon as I got there, like we met with like the travel person, and I was like, how did y'all find me? Like straight up, like how did I end up here? Because I don't have that at the time. I didn't have like had like no followers, like 1,000, maybe 2,000 followers. And I didn't have a TikTok yet. I mean, I
Yeah.
like it was just Instagram only. Um, and then they were like, honestly, we Googled Texas Latina blogger, and
Oh
and
wow.
you came up. And I was like, that's crazy. And I think it's the blog, like influencing and influencers, like usually like even now they don't have websites or blogs.
Yeah.
But dude, that website can get you like recognized and noticed. It's so crazy. Or like they take you more serious too, like for the concerts and like festivals like South by Southwest. I don't know if you've heard of it here in Austin. It's cool. So it's like tech, music, comedy. What else do they do? But it's like a week long or 10 days long. And
10
so I
days.
saw like Eslabon Armado this year, which was cool. And then I just saw a lot of people. It was cool. And I got to interview RZA from Wu-Tang Clan. But
Oh
like
wow.
I applied for that press pass, and like they asked like, "Oh, do you have a website?" And honestly, like the website just like makes you seem more serious to these people, like, and it matters. Like, and it's really not that like it. I know it seems like super like intimidating maybe for some people. Like I have influencer friends that are like, I just don't know any of that stuff. But like there's templates, and like
Yeah.
there's ways. And YouTube, man, like YouTube, it's amazing. Like I can literally find anything that I need, like to make my website better. Like
Yeah.
recently I had like spam or something, and you would go and anything you would click it was a spam. And I just like Googled it, and I
Yeah.
found a solution. So like I think nowadays it's easy to have a website, and like as long as you
Yeah.
have that website, have a couple pages, like people will just take you a little bit more serious.
Yeah, I feel like for me, that's actually something I'm working on, especially with the podcast. I'm trying to see how I could grow it more. And one of the things was like a website. And I actually been wanting to start a blog since like 2018. But I always had that mindset where like I'm not good at writing. Like even though I do like the journals and stuff, like I feel like my writing in itself was never good enough. But I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna do it anyways because it's like a great opportunity. So that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I love it.
Okay, and the next question would be like, what were those obstacles in the beginning? And it could be like with silver jury, because like even you said like how there's not a lot of like there weren't a lot of women in the classes that you were in, or even like with content creation and then the blogging. Like, what were some of those obstacles? And it could be like mindset stuff, like yeah,
Yeah.
mindset stuff, or just like actual like logistics of like my website wasn't working for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think for both, like imposter syndrome, like for
Mm.
both.
Yeah.
Like in engineering, like I think what like why I did so bad at the beginning, like my first semester I failed all my classes
Oh
and
wow.
I got 1D. Like I failed and then 1D, and my parents like made me, my parents were hardcore. They made me do a PowerPoint like explaining to them why I should stay in college and not go home, because there's a community college back home, and they were like explain to us like why you should go back to Austin. And I was like, bro, like anyways, I made this PowerPoint. But I think like what scared me, or like why I had such a difficult time, is like, I mean, my first chemistry class was like 400 people. And I walk into that class and like everyone, and like it was the first time I saw like a real person from India or a real person from Africa was
Mm.
in Austin. And so I
Yeah.
felt
Oh wow.
so like alone. I was just scared. And like I felt like all these people were so good. I would go to study hours or study, like what were the office hours and
Mm.
stuff. And it just seemed like everyone else knew what they were doing. And I just felt like, dude, I don't belong here. I don't belong
Mm.
here. And the same with blogging and influencing, like at the beginning. And I still do it. I still do it now. Like my husband's probably listening. Like I just like sometimes I go to these places or these events and I'm like, dude, am I supposed to be here? And
Mm.
I start feeling myself like getting into like a ball.
Yeah.
And like the imposter syndrome is hard because like it's all up to you. Like it's not up to anyone else. No one else can fix it.
Yeah.
You have to fix it. So like in engineering, like it honestly, it took me getting involved like in engineering organizations for me to come
Mm.
out of the imposter syndrome. Like I became like, like secretary and then vice president and then president of these orgs, and it gave me the confidence, like even if it wasn't technical like engineering, it just gave
Yeah.
me confidence to be in these rooms with mostly, white men, to feel like not like I belong there, like I deserve a
Yeah.
seat at the table, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's one of the biggest, I think, obstacles that I've had. And then just people taking you serious, like people just like, are rude, and it still happens to this day. I just learned to handle it,
Mm.
better. But like in engineering, especially like my first year of college, I would wear heels every day, every day. To all my,
Really?
yeah, I would walk
Oh
on
my
campus with
god.
heels. That was my style, and I stuck to it. And I was like, this is who I am. Now like I'm wearing Nike everything, sneakers. But but yeah, I mean like, and I remember, people just like judging me by the way I looked in engineering. And it's like, why? Like, I mean, I still go to events. Like, my husband's also a civil engineer,
Mm.
and like, I'll go to events with him, like for his company, and they'll just be like, oh, it's the wife,
Mm.
and like, that's cool. Like, yeah, like I am,
Yeah.
but like,
But I'm more than that.
yeah, like I'm more than that. And so, like yeah, so like just being taken serious. I think like the technical side, on the technical side, like I've been struggling with engineering. So like with civil engineering, like you go to school, like cool,
Yeah.
but then they make you like take two tests after you graduate to become like a professional licensed engineer.
Mm.
And so the first test is called the fundamental of engineering exam, and I took that one 4 times before I
Oh wow.
passed it. And it was just like really like draining, and I was already feeling like I didn't belong in engineering,
Yeah.
and then I went through that. So like when it came time to take my professional engineering exam, I was like, bro, like again, I feel like I already proved myself. Like, why do I have to keep doing this? But so like the history of why is like, I think it happened in Texas, like in like the 1920s. There was like a fire that happened at a children's school, and like all the children died. And the reason the fire happened was because the civil engineer, like, or one of the engineers on the project,
Yeah.
just didn't do their job. And
Oh
so
wow.
they added like licensure for civil engineers, mostly for civils,
Yeah.
mechanicals and electrical too. Like they and petroleum kind of get their licenses, but mostly civil engineers are the ones that really have to have it.
Mm.
Is because they basically want you to be responsible, to be held responsible for your
Yeah.
work. So like any job that I've had, like it's like they expect me to be a
Yeah.
professional engineer. So I've taken it 6 times and I still haven't passed it. And
Oh wow.
at first, like my blog really came like really um helped me through that, and I like wrote this like multiple blog posts, and like
Mm.
people still write to me when they fail the exam, because I guess they'll be like, what do I do next?
Yeah.
And my blog post is one of the first ones.
Mm.
And it's like they find like, you're not the only one, like we're all like kind of struggling, and sometimes it comes down to luck. Like it's unfortunate, but like the past 3 times, like I got a 69, a 68, and a 69.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
literally, it's like I could have just answered something like, like maybe
Yeah.
it's a C for Chapel. My pup's name is Chapel, and like, or like I could have just answered it differently. Maybe I would have passed.
Yeah.
So I had to wait actually to. They give you like a time limit to pass, and I didn't make the time limit, so I had to start all over again in the process. So I actually got the email today that I'm approved to take it again. So I'm gonna
Mm.
try again. And like
Yeah.
a lot of people, like my friends and stuff, they're like, why? Like why do you even keep trying? All my influencer friends are like, why do you do this?
Mm.
And I'm like, I mean, at this point, it's just because I want to prove it to myself that like I deserve to be here.
Yeah.
And like and I'm scared, like I'm scared of a piece of paper, like a computer screen now, because they moved it to a computer. Um, and I'm nervous about it, but like I'm gonna try. And I signed up for a class, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna, give it my all. And like I'm not gonna let that stop me. And like I know I've failed in the past, but like honestly, like I know a lot of engineers who have their license and they're not good engineers. And like I'm really good at what I do. And like I'm, that's what's gonna drive me, and that's what's gonna help me overcome this, obstacle that I still
Yeah.
have. Like, yeah. So
Yeah.
wish me luck, everybody. I'm taking
Yeah.
it this time.
That's actually interesting because it kind of goes back to like the education system where like they don't really teach us like the study habits, like how to study properly and all that, and it kind of makes us feel like, oh yeah, we're not smart enough or we're not good at test taking because of this and that, but it's because they in reality like they didn't do their job correctly.
Yeah,
So when I was in college, I had to like I watched like a bunch of videos on study strategies, like how to, because there's I've never done it myself where like people do or students do overnight like work. Like I will always
you've never
prioritize my
pulled an all-nighter.
I've never put an all nighter, and
I'm,
I was like
I'm an
that
all-nighter. I was an
no.
all-nighter person.
I don't know how y'all do that. I probably let like once maybe, but I don't even think so. I will either not do the work or just go, yeah, just go
Yeah,
to sleep.
just be like,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, literally, because I was like that's crazy. But I really prioritize like the study habits that I learned through YouTube. That's where I would learn myself. But yeah, I think like looking at the strategies that there are, maybe like because again, there's like different like your
There's different ways.
different ways to study. So like sometimes we don't even know about them. So maybe that could help you out. Maybe
Yeah.
yeah,
I never even like I use YouTube for everything. I didn't even think about that.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think
because I
that
mean, I think like what gets me is like not the information. It's like when you're there, like too, like when
mm,
I'm in the test, if I don't like it's timed. So like
yeah,
if I don't know a question, I'll stay on the question because I'm like, I know I can figure
mm,
this out. And it like
yeah,
messes me up. So like also like I want to find a way to like, how do I not do that? Like how do I just
yeah,
let it go? And then move on to the next question. I need to
yeah.
figure that
I think that
too.
I feel like like at least what I would do would be like breathing techniques, or even like I don't know, it's maybe like you practicing yourself at home, like
Yeah,
making a fake test,
a
and
test
then literally just skipping a question like every 5 minutes or something,
just for fun.
just
Just
just for
okay,
fun.
just let it go, let it go.
Yeah, like get out of the comfort zone, but at home, and then like when you're taking the test, like okay, I don't have to answer this question right now, but and then I'll get back to
I'll
it.
come back to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
I haven't taken a test in a while, so okay. Have with the content creation, have there been like some obstacles too? Because at least for me, content creating content is not easy, but I also do like talking stuff, so I'm not good at talk. I
Yeah.
have a tendency not to like talk very well or communicate my things properly, so that's my struggle right now. But for you, like how do you balance that too, like work and blogging and then content creation?
Well, yeah, so I think my biggest thing with content creation is like if I'm not feeling it, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to do it. So like if I get like a deadline and because I work with brands and they'll give me a deadline, I'll miss deadlines like crazy. And I'm trying to be better, but like I found that like I can tell and I feel like it comes off to my audience or whatever. Like when I'm having a bad day, like I like the reel or whatever, you could like will get less likes because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like with anything like cooking too, like the love or like the energy really
Yeah.
comes through that. So like that's one of my obstacles is like really trying to like if I'm having a bad day at work, like let's get over it and let's like concentrate on
Yeah.
this because like I want to do this too.
Mm-hmm.
um so I guess that's one of them. And also just like standards of people. Like recently, like I called myself a baddie on like on a reel. I put it on TikTok too, but like on TikTok, everyone like was received it different. And
Mm-hmm.
then on Instagram, like I had people like just like where's the baddie at? Like in like multiple comments, just like coming. I had a guy message me like what did he say? Why don't you just kill yourself? Like something crazy. And I was like,
Oh
bro,
my
like
god.
just because I call myself a baddie. So I think like image, like self-image, like for me was always a big thing. Like being brown, like too, like I know like we've come a long way, and but like being brown, I was very ashamed of it at the beginning. I
Mm-hmm.
used to lighten my photos, like I would lighten them to
Oh
make
wow.
myself look more light because I felt like if I did that, people would like it better or like
Mm-hmm.
brands would reach out to me. And like it took me a long time to really be accepting of me and like my body, my skin, myself. And like
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest obstacle for me is like being authentic, like not falling into like just being like everyone else,
Yeah.
like I mean, yeah, like the homegirl that like I see her post that she went to the same place might be getting 10,000 likes, but that doesn't mean I have to be like that. Like I had to learn to be myself and not lose that. And it's
Yeah.
hard, because I see like my some of my influencer friends and stuff, like they lose themselves a little bit to conform to what they think, but then it comes through, like
Yeah.
I see it, like other people see it, and you have to really learn to just like be accepting of yourself. I think that's when true content creation like really shines, is when like you are true to yourself and being true to the world. And it's hard though, like I could say that, right? Like I could say that all day. um but yeah, it's hard, man. Like weight management, like all of this, like just body image, like it was really hard, like to put myself out there at the beginning, because I mean, you're being fed all this media and content, and where you're seeing you might not look like that or
Yeah.
be like that or sound like that. Like my accent, I never used to talk in my videos or my
Mm-hmm.
reels because like people would comment on my accent, and so I got like kind of uncomfortable with it. But then like I came to a point that I was like, no, like I need to stop, dude, and I just need to be
Yeah.
myself. um but yeah, I think that's like one of the biggest obstacles. And then like with time management, man, it's hard. You gotta really like I became one of those calendar girls. I did, and I started blocking off time for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like even like when like I'm at work and I'll be like, okay, an hour to go shoot my fit. Like, and I'll put it in my calendar. Like I'm at work, I won't put like what it's for. I'll just be like break. But I need to block out time. I started like my some of my friends at first were like I don't feel comfortable like scheduling time. Like it's weird. And I'm like, no, dude, like we need to start putting stuff in the calendar because
Yeah.
they're not like some of my like my bridesmaids, they live here in Austin and I never see them. And we've gotten to a point that we all recognize like if we put it in our calendars, like that's when it's happening. And so I had to start doing that. But I also started blocking out like time for yoga, like my workout time. I added that to my calendar. And then just blocking out time. Like after 6, I try not to do anything just because like I want to spend time with my husband and my pups, and I want to have time for my family like on weekends, unless I have something already going on. Like tomorrow I'm going to the Austin Reggae Festival and I'm doing like a collab with them. And like I already want to be there. So I'm like, yay. But
Yeah.
like I have to remember like when I get there, like let's take whatever I need, like shoot the content,
Yeah.
and then get back to the fun. But you just have to remember to do that, right? Like I
Yeah.
mean there's been times that I go to like concerts or festivals and I just like forget, and then I'm like bro, like we forgot because I'm having so much fun. But I mean
Yeah.
it takes time. Like I had to like it takes practice,
Yeah.
honestly. I had to like do it multiple times to like really start setting those boundaries. And then like another thing that I think has helped me too is like if I'm like set to post something one day, I like schedule like 30 minutes to 45 minutes to post it, create the caption or whatever, post
Yeah.
it, and then I get off. Like I get off completely. Like I don't stay, I don't scroll, I don't like anybody else's
Yeah.
thing. And like not in a mean way, but like if I do that, then I'll waste time
Yeah.
like on my day and I won't get back to work. So like sometimes like people will be like, why did you like 10 of my posts? And I'm like, oh, because it's my time. Like I made time to like all your stuff. But yeah, like that, I think that's important too. Like not letting it suck you in. If you're wanting to
Yeah.
be a content creator, like it's cool to like, like research or like look at stuff, but like you also need to know when to get off the
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah. I feel like I guess I can ask you a question because I've been like there's like the Latina follow train and then like supporting Latinas and all of that or just like supporting people in general. But then my question would be like how can we support the people without like while having that balance as well because I feel like it and even like in the because there's the for you page and then there's like the people you're following sometimes not everybody shows up like the people you're following so it's like
No,
how
they
am I
don't.
how am I supposed how's it is there like another way I can support or I don't know I feel like for me that's complicated like I want to support you but then following or liking your all your pictures might not be like realistic for me. So
Realistic,
yeah,
yeah.
do you have like any advice or is like you're also like figuring
I'm
it
also
out?
there. I'm also figuring it out. But like I think like for like locally, I guess, like all my friends that like I'm actually friends with and
Yeah.
then they're influencers, like I started like I put the notifications on for them on
Mm,
Instagram. And like just so like they'll be like, oh, they posted a story. And even if I don't like their post, like as long as like I'm like, oh, they posted a story and I'm like cute fit, whatever,
yeah.
like whatever vibe like I'm feeling to say, like I'll be like, oh, you look cute, or like, oh,
Mm.
how fun. um but like I mean I miss posts like crazy, and Instagram's really bad at it too. Like I don't see any of my friends posts. Like I
Oh
just
wow.
see a bunch of like restaurants and stuff
Mm.
I follow, but like I don't see like my brother and sister. I have to like make a conscious effort to like go and look to see if they posted anything or like their stories, because they won't just
Mm.
automatically do it,
Oh
which
wow.
is rude. But I'm also going through that with the Latina follow train. It was really hard for me because people were starting to get mean.
Oh
And
wow.
like I followed people, and then like I didn't follow everyone because I couldn't go through all the comments, and I didn't know, like, you know what I mean? And like
Yeah.
and then I got messages from people like, hey, I followed you and you didn't follow me back, like why? And
Mm.
I'm like, dude, like I couldn't, I don't know, I was just getting comments, and it
Yeah.
was just like a lot. It was overwhelming. And I get to a point on some of my videos, especially on TikTok, like I've gone viral multiple times. Like I don't even read the comments anymore, like because it's just too many.
Yeah.
And like if I'm if I'm on there, I'm just getting sucked into it. So I mean, it's hard. I think you have to just do your best, and like to other influencers or content creators, like also recognize that people are doing their best. Like, you know, people
Yeah.
are trying to support you. Like, just because somebody doesn't like your photo right away doesn't mean that they're not supporting you. Like,
Yeah.
you know the support is there. You can feel it regardless of you get the like or the follow or the share or whatever, you
Yeah.
know, like I know who supports me when I see them in real life, or like even like people that like I only know from the internet. Like I won't hear from people like for weeks. And then like they'll like comment on something and I know like that they're still supporting me even if they didn't comment on like my last 10
Yeah.
posts. You know, you just gotta like give people grace and give yourself grace, you know,
Yeah, that makes
because it's not
sense.
possible.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like it could be like overwhelming too. But okay, let's go with the next question, or it kind of like goes back to the same thing, but with there's like the personal development, like the boundaries, like time management and stuff. Have there been like books or podcasts that you've been listening to where you learn these stuff or that you're learning right now?
Yeah, so like one of my favorite books is called The Art of Not Giving a Fuck, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a
Yes.
Fuck, dude. And it changed. I read it during COVID and it changed a lot for me. Um, Especially with time management when it came to like my family. I mean, they live 4 hours away and you know, they expect me to see them like often. And I got to a point that I had to like I love my parents and I love my family, my siblings, like they're like if I will drop anything, like anything to be with them, but there's times like last week I went to New Braunfels, Texas for like a collab,
Yeah.
and my parents and my siblings were in another Texas town for the strawberry festival, and like I wanted to go and I wanted to be with them, but I had already made this commitment and I had already signed this contract, and I had to learn not to give a fuck. I'm sorry, I don't know if there's cussing on
No.
this podcast, but yeah, like I had to learn, and not in a mean way, in like a like let it go away, because or not I would just be there being like, oh, I feel bad, like they're over
Yeah.
there, and I used to like get so sad if I wasn't able to do all the things, you
Yeah.
know. And so I like that book like really helped me. And then hold on. Okay, and then there's the Four Agreements. Have you heard of this
Oh
book?
yes.
Okay, yes, that one too. Like it just like you have to compartmentalize your life and like really like see like all the different things. Like sometimes like for work, like the job I have now, there's things that are due, like if it's due today, it's due today. But there's things that are like if it's due today, they're due today, but you can put them off a little bit. So like I had to learn to like do that at work. And then
Yeah.
like yesterday I didn't take my lunch because I had a collab with this like restaurant. So I took my lunch at 3 when it was that collab, and then I came back at 4, right? So
Yeah.
like just kind of, and that book kind of helped me, the Four Agreements kind of helped me like really put things in boxes, or like what's more important, what's less important,
Yeah.
what could you wait on, like what can what do you have to do right now, you know.
Yeah.
But those two books like I really like. And then what is it, 10,000 hours by um yes, 10,000 hours it's
10,000.
called.
Oh, that one I
And
haven't
so,
heard.
yeah, so that one is like it takes about 10,000 hours to become really good at something. Like that's the theory behind the book.
Yeah.
But for that one, it's like I I think what it helped me realize is that like with this content creation stuff, like I wasn't proud of my work till recently. And I've been doing it since 2015 technically, and
Oh.
2018 more serious. So like maybe like 5 years, you know, like
Yeah.
5-ish years for me to actually feel like, oh, okay. And I mean, if I look back at it, and maybe started at about 10,000 hours of me actually like,
Yeah.
you know, doing this. And it really puts into perspective that like anything that you want to do, like I want to learn the guitar, like I have it right here, and I haven't put any time to it. But like I know that like if I want to, I'm gonna have to make time, you know, to
Yeah.
do it. And I'm gonna have to again rearrange my life, you know.
Yeah. There's actually this TED talk where he mentions, I think he mentions the book, I'm not sure, but he says that we don't, because especially like when the things that we learn, we don't need to learn it at an expert level. So in this one, I think it's like you need 20 hours to learn something. I don't know. You could probably search it up, and
Yeah,
I'll put
yeah.
it in the description.
Yes.
But yeah, you only need 20 hours to learn. And in this case, he did the ukulele.
Oh, nice.
So he
That's
did
cute.
20 hours, and then at the end of the presentation TED talk, he like he did like a song or songs because he did it there.
Yes.
So that was pretty nice. So sometimes we don't even need 10,000
Yeah,
hours.
yeah,
We need like 20
yeah,
hours. So
yeah. You just need like time. Like I learned Cielito Lindo, but not like strummy. I learned
yeah.
it like this.
Okay.
And but I don't remember it now, but it was during COVID. But I mean I learned it, you know, and I
Yeah.
was able to do it. So like I know it's possible.
Yeah.
I just need to like again like go back to my life and like those books helped me like I guess mostly like figure out what's important right now,
Yeah.
like today, like what is important or what is, you know, what can I, and not think about, sometimes like looking at the big picture can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're like, oh, I want this out of my life, and so you're just like upset or sad because you're like, oh, I'm never gonna get there. But if you just like take it day by day, like hour by hour, like
Yeah.
I think it really helps, and you don't feel so overwhelmed, you know.
Yeah. I feel like that's something I've been struggling with, especially with the podcast. Is like, um, I feel like there's not enough growth. But then it's like I'm also just starting, and then I think at the end of the day, is like being intentional with what you're doing. Like if you enjoy it, then keep going, and then that consistency too. Because if you stop, then like of course you're not gonna see results. So that's something I'm like still like working on. But there's this book I read, the Big Leap. I read it like 2 weeks ago because
Okay.
I was really low like the beginning of April.
Yeah.
But this book like really helped me because he talked like the main thing is that we have this thermostat of like how um we have this thermostat where we have a set level of how happy we can be, or success, finances, whatever it is. And then once we reach that level, we tend to self sabotage because it's like that level, and then because it's out of our comfort zone, we want to go back to the familiar, so we self sabotage. So that's kind of what I noticed that when I read that book, I noticed that's what I was doing. I was self sabotaging, kind of like the thing that I'm working on and that I've been wanting to work on for like
Yes.
for over a year now. So yeah, that book I totally like really recommend. But yeah, and then the consciously lucky, or consciously lucky
Ooh,
from the same author.
the same. Okay.
Yeah, that one's also a good book I've been reading because I feel like there's like you want, at least for me, I want things to happen really quick, but it goes back to like being intentional, being patient, enjoying
But
the
like that
process.
manifesting, like manifesting isn't just like manifesting. Like
Yeah,
it's like letting go a little bit of like of things, you know?
yeah,
Like I feel like I'm a really lucky person like now, but it's not because like I'm lucky. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like I don't know, I just kind of was like I just like you know? So
There's
I like
there's
so I
this
like I'm gonna read that book. I have it. I added it to my list.
yeah, those are really good books. And then there's this guy I listen to. He's in Spanish. It's like Doctor Watch or something like that. And he was talking about like la ley de causa y efecto, like the law of cause and effect, pretty much. But it's
Yeah.
more like the law of cause and consequence, where like whatever you do, it doesn't matter what, it's gonna have a consequence. And that's like with the going back to being lucky, it's not because you're lucky, it's because you did something, that you worked on something, and then like that energy, and it goes back to manifestation, like energy, everything's intentional, stuff like that. I don't know, I feel like I have like the foundation, or like the theory,
Yeah.
but now I need to work on the practicing it. But
I
that's
mean, like you, like I think, like you reaching out to people, like just emailing people, is like intentional. You know, like I
yeah.
have a lot of friends who like want to do things, and like I hope they listen to this, like because I tell them too. Like I mean, like this isn't even me talking behind their bags. Like it's just like you want to do things, but like you don't like take they don't take the steps, like, or they're scared to write to people, or like, oh well, I
Yeah.
don't know, like they would say no, but like honestly, the worst they can say is no.
Yeah.
Like the worst they can say is no or not right back. And
Yeah.
you know, and you took that step, and I think like that's already in like in the right direction, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and that's like the hardest part, but it kind of goes back, like if anybody's like listening to, it goes back to like mindset stuff, and once you start gaining that confidence too, it kind of like helps you take that, even if it's like a small step, like or just like me sending the emails. It took me like a whole year, to be honest, to like send those emails, but I was working on myself, and I was doing little things that kind of like got me to have the courage to send those emails, and I do the interviews,
For
like
sure.
even now, like I get nervous doing the interviews. It was like, oh, like what if I ask the wrong question, or I don't say it properly? Or there's been times where I literally just like forget my thought, and it's so frustrating. But at the same time, it's like you have no skills like before this. So if you're already doing that, it's like practice. I'm gonna have the 10,000 hours like at some point. So I'm gonna
You
become
are, yeah.
a better interviewer. So I just have to remind myself that. But like sometimes it gets you, and it goes back to like redirecting your thoughts and like and being intentional and all of that. But yeah,
For
okay.
sure.
The next question will be, especially since you said your parents like will be the first generation, or
I
were
don't
they like
know. I think I'm first generation because they moved here from Mexico, right?
mm,
I don't know how it works.
yeah, it's kind of like complicated. Just at least I majored in anthropology, and so
Yeah, yeah.
one of the topics that we talked about was that like it's supposed to be like a parents are like first generation, but then like me, I will be like 1.5 because I was born in Mexico, but I came here when I was a young age,
Mhm.
and then like people who were born here but I come from immigrant parents or undocumented parents, they're supposed
Yeah,
to be second generation. But
yeah.
then, like in colleges, they consider first generation when your parents didn't go to college and they weren't born here, and then you're the citizen, you're the one who's
Yeah, yeah.
started going. So
So that
it's kind of
yeah, it's
complicated.
kind of complicated. I mean, my parents are from so my mom came undocumented when she was 12 or
Mm,
11 or 12. And so she gained citizenship through Ronald Reagan, the amnesty like
mm,
acts that happened. And then my dad, he didn't move here till his late 20s,
oh, wow.
after he had already like gone through college and everything. So and he did it, he wasn't undocumented. He went like through the legal process. So it's like
Oh,
really interesting. Like I think like one of the reasons like we're real more Mexican is like just my dad was like lived most of his life in Mexico, you know?
yeah.
So when we were born, he like just made it like all our family trips were all Mexico. Like we would
Mm.
drive everywhere. Like I went to so many places. Like I went to pyramids and I went to Morelia to see like where the first guitar was made. Like um I don't know, like my dad was really good at like just reminding us all the time like kind of where we came from,
Mm.
and my grandparents lived in Mexico, so at, like every summer I would go to school over there because like their
Oh
school
wow.
ends in July and June, right? So like I would spend a month going to school in Mexico. So it was like interesting to like I don't know, I grew up pretty nice. Like I always like think about it like when I was little I used to complain because like my friends were
Mm.
going to Hawaii
Yeah.
or whatever, and I would be like, oh, we're going to Sabinas again, but like I wouldn't be who I am, right? Like I wouldn't see like the world. Like I used to get my lunch from a little taco like stroller, and it was only bean tacos, and so like it really like puts into perspective. Like when I grew up I was like, man, had I not had those experiences, had my dad like really not um forced it on us, like i
Yeah.
don't know i don't know who I would be. I don't know like kind of person I would be.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I mean they it's crazy, like because they both have different stories too, like
Mm.
my mom being undocumented and my dad doing it the legal way.
Yeah.
They never like had resentment toward each other. They never,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
my dad was never mad about it and my mom was never mad about it. It was just kind of like, oh, that those are our stories. Like that's just how it is.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
That's interesting, and that's pretty cool. Like you were able to be part, or growing up, you had the child where you were part of the Mexican culture, and that's something like not at least like my family, we haven't had that. Like I'm not able to go to Mexico and stuff like that. So it's really nice. But the reason I asked that question was because I want to enter into like the money conversations, because like your parents have were able to have a career, and then now you have a career. So how has your relationship evolved through that journey, or how was like the beginning, and then is it different now? So like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like for me, like, dude, money and me, we have a complicated relationship. Um, and so like growing up, like when I was little, it was like our entertainment was like going to the creek and getting Church's chicken, right? Or making
Mm,
sandwiches, and we would stop at rest stops, like, and have lunch, right? Instead of going out to eat
mm,
on trips. But then with my sister, she's 8 years younger than me, so by the time like my parents were still working to whatever to get to where they are now, but by the time my sister was born, they were already there, like they
mm,
they were already there. And then like my dad, like even when we were little, like he still says this to this day, es que somos pobres, es que somos pobres.
mm,
And like I knew we weren't poor, right?
yeah,
But like the mindset that my dad had was like somos pobres, like we
yeah,
didn't have cable TV, like we didn't like, like just very like even though my phone was free at 9, because back then like it would be free at 9, you got free calls. My cell phone, I was not allowed to use it. Like it was
oh
just
wow,
like, and like traveling, or like clothes, little things that like I was like, why can't I shop at Abercrombie?
mm,
Like, like I know we have it. Um, but like my dad was always of that mindset, like que somos pobres. And like now as an adult, I get it. Like I get it. Si somos pobres, dude, because like, dude, I graduated and I was so used to like, like I never struggled though. Like I always had like money. I never like worried about when I was gonna eat. I didn't have to have a job
mm,
in college. Like
yeah,
I got a credit card from my parents. It was a $500 limit, but still, like I had like a credit card. I never worried. So when
mm,
I graduated though, like I think my parents always instilled like que somos pobres, but they never talked about it enough with us, that like I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know
mm,
anything. So when I graduated, I got a credit card. I was like, cool vibes. Um, but then I got into debt, like hardcore. Like I was like almost $30,000 in debt,
oh wow,
and I just like didn't know how to get out of it. And so I'm like engaged to my husband, and and I hadn't told him anything. And it wasn't like it's not that like honestly I was ashamed, because like my husband like grew up so different from me.
mm,
And he, they didn't he comes from a single mom household who, had to work nights, and um he really had to pave his own way in the world. So I was just ashamed that like, dude, I came from this household that like
mm,
I never worried for anything, and I'm over here struggling. I'm over
yeah,
here in debt. Like, how, dude? Like, why? So like it wasn't that I didn't want to like tell him. I was just like ashamed. I was so embarrassed.
yeah,
And so like when after we got married, we ended up getting a house, and like the whole process, I was so nervous that they were gonna be like, she's in debt. And they, and like luckily like my credit score and stuff was still good or whatever enough. And my parents ended up helping us a little bit. And like it's kind of like I love my parents. I love them. I love y'all. Y'all are listening, but like my parents help a lot of people. Like they just help a lot of people. They give a lot of help to like my cousins or my tios and tias, and just everyone's kind of getting help. And I came to like we had already bought the house, and I was like in the middle of the night, and I woke up and I was like, dude, I can't do this. And so I called my mom and I was like, hey, dude, I messed up. I messed up. I need help. And my mom straight up was like, well, it's gonna be this much of interest rate. You're gonna have to do this. And because they've always kind of treated me like that, like well, you did this. And I was like, mom, like come on, like you're always helping people, like I'm
yeah,
your daughter. And she didn't want to,
mm,
and I had to like figure it out. And so I had to tell my husband, and my husband has always been good with money, like budgeting and just like good with money. And he just taught himself. He just learned
mm,
on his own. And so he helped me create a budget. And for a long time, like I was like $100 was my spending limit every 2 weeks, like for
mm,
random
yeah,
things. I mean, you look at that, like I would tell my friends and I would show them my budget, and they're like, oh my god, like that's nothing. But I had to. And I eventually with my husband's help, like I got out of debt. And like now, like if I see any amount on my credit card, I freak out and I'm like, nope, pay it today. But like they did, like my parents, although they were doing well for themselves, they never talked to us about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they never taught me like anything about money. And I wish like in college, like, and like I have to take all these tests and all these classes. Like, why don't we talk about this? We didn't talk about buying a home, like property taxes, like all this stuff that like, and I feel like white communities, like not in a mean way, but like I feel like they have an advantage because they talk about it so openly, and they do, dude. All my white counterparts or whatever, like at work, it just seems like they've already known some of this
Mm.
stuff. and
Yeah.
and it's like why didn't I know this? Like even though my parents had a good, career, like I never even thought about it once. So I
Yeah.
mean, now I'm a lot better with money, but there is that like fear. Like I'm always scared. And then also like an addition is like I'm scared that I'm never gonna get to where my parents were. Like my parents were
Mm.
able to pay for our college. Like how?
Oh,
Like how were they able to do that? All three of us,
really?
they put us all through college. I mean, I had a lot of scholarships. um
Mm.
I hustled for that. I did. I did all the interviews. I wrote all the essays,
Mm.
just because I was like, oh, there's money out there. It's free. Um, and I think my siblings did too. I honestly, we've never really talked about it, but like, it's scary. Like, I mean, I don't know who's gonna listen to this that I know, so I'm gonna say it on here. Like, I recently found out that I'm pregnant, and so like I'm excited. Like, I'm like,
Congrats.
thanks, dude, and I'm pumped or whatever. But then like, like I'm scared a little bit. Like the money side of things. Like, oh, how do people really do it? Everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh, you figure it out, but I don't want to figure it out. Like, I wanna not worry. I want to
Yeah.
get to a point that like I go to the store and or whatever I do. I'm on StockX buying sneakers. I need to stop
Yeah.
doing that. But I want to like just buy the sneakers. Like I
Yeah.
don't want to like be checking accounts or like worrying. And how do we get to that point? Like how do
Yeah.
we get there? And I don't know what the answer is, and I don't know how people like. I listen to podcasts about it, or I've
Yeah.
gone to workshops, but I feel like I'm like there's something in my subconscious, I feel like, that I'm just like always like scared,
Yeah. Have
you
you
know?
have you read like any books
I
on money?
haven't. Money, I have not. I'm like, I have not.
Wait, let me write all the
Yes, write
recommendations,
them.
because
Yes.
I feel like I'm also like going through that process too, um, and literally 2 days ago, 3 days ago maybe, I'm not working right now, so that's a bit of context. I'm not working. I saved up money, a good amount of money, but now it's all pretty much gone because I haven't worked. I'm gonna start working by the end of the month, so that's good. But
Yay.
but 2 days, 3 days ago, I had to go to BJ's, and I only had one of my debit cards. Because I bought some stuff for my mom and because I do with my parents too. But I was supposed to go buy some stuff, and I went to Whole Foods and then I went to BJ's. But I only had, I want to say like 200, let's say like $200. And then I bought the stuff at Whole Foods. I'm like, okay, I bought some stuff for my cousin too that she asked me for. I'm like, okay. And then I go to
Cool.
BJ's, and then I start grabbing the stuff that my mom asked me to get. I grab my stuff because I was gonna make some pad thai. So I'm like, okay. And then I see all the stuff in the cart, and then I go, and I'm like, I don't know if it's gonna be enough. I don't know. I go to my account, and it's like 184. No, I have 184, and I have like $2 on my
Oh
savings.
God.
Oh, this is so embarrassing, but I feel like I have to be a bit open, just because,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
so people don't feel ashamed. Like I'm still working
Exactly.
on it, but I kept on like scanning the stuff, and I was checking to see if the amount of money was going past it, and so I was like, you know what, let me pass those cents that I have in my savings into the other one to see how much I have, to see how much it adds up to. And it was, the total for BJ's was 184 with like, I want to say like 60 cents. And then in my bank account I had 184 with 20 cents.
Oh
I
no.
needed 40 cents more just to pay for it. So I had to like, I asked the guy like, can you take out the blueberries, please? I was like, can you take out the blueberries? And but like that moment, like that, I felt like really really bad because I was like I've been like reading so many like financial books. I've been educating myself like mindset stuff too, but just like being in that situation, I just felt like really really bad. And I was like shit, I don't want to be in this position. Yeah, I don't want to be in this position ever again. So yeah, I think like I need to take my finances just more seriously too, because then like that feeling was not it.
Yeah, dude, it's not a good feeling, dude. And I just started watching it. I haven't seen too much of it. It came out today, I think, or maybe yesterday on Netflix. It's called How to Get Rich. And so this
Okay.
guy, every episode, he like goes to different people. Have you seen
Yeah.
the trailer?
No, but
Dude,
I know it's remit
yes,
something.
dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. Like
Yeah.
the first one is like a couple, and she's like in tech, and then he's a stay-at-home dad, and they have two
Mm.
kids. And it's like, oh, dude, this is interesting because she makes a lot of money, but it's like where's all the money going? And like
Yeah.
the way he breaks it down is really cool. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's what really got me out of debt because I had like when my husband helped me like really see where all my money was going. I canceled a bunch of subscriptions like that. I was just like
Yeah.
I stopped going to the gym too, like
Mm.
and like COVID like was bad. Like it was like I was in the hospital,
Oh well.
but like I loved COVID. Like had it not been for COVID, I don't think I would have like really looked at my financial situation or
Yeah.
just my life as a whole. I really took some time to reassess everything,
Yeah.
like had it not happened, I don't think I would be like where I am in my career and my blogging and anything because like I needed that time to really look at my life.
Yeah. Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and I think that's like where we're all like you said, like trying to figure it out. And I think it's like having these conversations, these money conversations about like anything, really just being more open about it is like really, really important. The books that I recommend is
Yes.
the Psychology of Money, um, The Richest Man in Babylonian, and I have my Amazon storefront. If you
Yes.
want to check it out, I have the books
Yes.
there where like the think and the one from Napoleon Hill. I think it's think I forgot the title, but it's like girl think fat think something think something it is. But I don't know. I'll send you a message too, and then like I'll leave the my Amazon storefront for those who want
Yes.
to check it out. But I think
Yes.
like money mindset is like really important. Like remit that like psychology and stuff is like really important. So his
It
podcast
is.
is good. Um, like even like there's this guy Eder Campos. He has like a few
Yeah.
videos about money, but he was talking about you also have to do like a letter to money because money's your friend. So you got to kind of fix that relationship. The words
Not be
how you,
scared of it, dude. Like
yeah
it's scary.
the language that you use as well, like your parents saying somos pobres, like that's like a big no, like you should not be saying that
Yes,
at
dude.
all.
Like it like freaked me out. Like I mean, not freaked me out, but I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Like we have a house, bro. Like
Yeah.
what are you
it
saying? So like I didn't know. I feel like it really hindered me like later on because I was like,
yeah
you know,
it comes like part two. It integrates into your like self-identity, like oh somos pobres, and then that's how it's always going to be, but that's not how it's always going to be.
it's always gonna be. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's self-identity, the money beliefs, like what the language that you use. So like even like if you are like poor, you shouldn't
Yeah.
in Spanish, at least how I heard it, is like you shouldn't say somos pobres. It's like estamos quebrados. That's because you don't have
Yeah.
money, but that doesn't mean it can't change.
It can't
So
change. Yeah,
yeah,
for
so
sure.
there's I don't know, it's pretty interesting, like the things I've been learning. Ferry Broca, he's more like into the spiritual side, but I really
Okay.
like him, but he also talks about money in some of his he has a podcast and then YouTube, so he's also like
Nice.
really good. I don't know, those are like the main ones I would say. But yeah, I'll send you a list afterwards too, and then like
Okay.
leave the
Yes.
Amazon storefront for those
Yes.
who are listening. Since we're almost at the a bit more over the hour mark,
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't
I
even know.
yeah, I feel like I could be asking more questions, but the last two questions I want to ask is for those who feel that don't deserve like feel, have those feelings of no me lo merezco, I don't deserve it. Like what advice or little pep talk would you give them? Like they want to start something, a hobby, career, become a civil engineer, become a content creator, whatever it is. Like what would you tell them?
I think like honestly, I feel like you can be anything you want to be for real. Like I feel like my Latinx experience, my personal experience, I was kind of never told that. Not like in a really like in a way that made me believe it. Like I
Mm-hmm.
heard it from like some of my tias or like
Yeah.
cousins, but like I never was really told that in a way that I believed it. And I feel like other communities like when they tell their, they're really good at telling their kids and like their
Yeah.
communities that they can do whatever they want. And I honestly do feel like that. I feel like if you put like your mind to something, you can get it done. And like if you feel like you don't deserve a seat at the table, we all do. Like I look forward to the day that like I'm in an engineering meeting and like about a project and like there's more people of color. Like I look forward to that day that I come in and there's like another Latina at the table. And I just feel like the the feeling of que no los merecemos is something that is so ingrained in us because people have always told us we can't do it. Like we can't do anything. Like we can't break those generational curses, or we
Yeah.
can't break the glass ceiling, or we can't break, like you're just not meant to be here. So
Yeah.
I think my advice or like my pep talk is like you really can do anything you set your mind to if you work hard enough for it. Like
Yeah.
I believe that. I really truly believe that.
Yeah. And then my last question is, what are those like top three, four, or if there's more top experiences, and it could be like in your career in content creation, that where you were like holy crap, I can't believe like this happened or is happening. Yeah, your top experiences.
Okay. For civil engineering, my first one would be like I joined the American Society of Civil Engineers, like right out of college. I was kind of involved in college, but not like
Mm-hmm.
really. And like I slowly like started getting positions, and I think volunteering is so important. And like it's just so funny because like I feel like the new generations just don't see the point of going
Mm-hmm.
to like being a part of these organizations. A lot of the younger people at work, they're just like, why do I want to network? But like because of ASCE, like I was able to get a position nationally, and I was able to travel all over the United
Oh wow.
States like for free, and they paid for me to go, like I got to go to Detroit, I got to go to Chicago, I got to go to Washington D.C. multiple times, and mingle with people. I met, like, I don't agree with him politically, but we, like, Ted Cruz came and talked to us, like a
Mm-hmm.
table of like six of us, like
Oh wow.
just because we were civil engineers. Like had I not been in that organization, had I not put myself out there, had I not taken on those, positions, I would have never, traveled like that. And like it
Yeah.
was, and like those people, like I am not in love with civil engineering, but
Mm-hmm.
like that organization and all the people that I met through it, like I would come back from those conferences and events, like just like feeling so empowered. And they know how much they mean to me, like, and they're just people from all over the United States. um but man, like the most motivational people I've ever met in my life, like, and it was all just because I volunteered. So like
Yeah.
that's one. And then I was named the Young Engineer of the Year last year, so that was cool. And it was like, honestly, I don't remember anything from the ceremony. Like I said in my speech, my parents were there, and I don't remember anything. Like I don't remember anything, but like it was so surreal because like I was already like I had imposter syndrome for so long, and I never felt like I deserved to be an engineer. And for me to like get the award was like
Yeah.
really cool because like I finally felt like validated. I finally felt like, okay, like I deserve to be here, and I just felt really good about it. And then for the Nueva Latina, dude, I don't know, like everything. I've gotten to do so many cool things. Like I think the coolest things have been the concerts. Like Like I saw Bad Bunny in 2018 and like no one was there. And so like it was like the media side. So we were like, it was the media and then like the people from the venue. And the people were like, this is ridiculous. Like we had this show for nothing. And they were all complaining. It was crazy. And then you flash forward, dude, to 2022. And it's just like, man, like wow.
You can see the
Wow. And then
difference.
yeah, and then I go back to San Antonio where I had originally seen them in a really small venue to like the Alamo Dome, like the historic Alamo Dome. And he sold out the show and it was just like people and the crowd.
Yeah.
Like I cried because I was like, wow, dude, like I was really there at the beginning. Like I was really there, dude. And I got to do that. Like that's really cool. And then like I think just like all the connections, like I've met so many people through the Nueva Latina. It's so cool. Like I like you, like I don't know, just like and then when you finally get to see people in real life, like it's so cool. Like I went to like this like 420 event and there's this Texas influencer, but she also has like CBD products. Her name's
Mm.
Blunt Babe HP, I think. And so I go to this event and it was all for women. It was really cool. And then we made flower bouquets. It was really cute. It was cuddly. And then like a local, it's called Austin Cannabis Co. They did like a CBD like
Mm.
flower bouquet thing. And so I sit down next to this girl and then we're like chatting and she's like, the Nueva Latina. And I was like, yeah, how do you know? And she's like, it's me, Blunt Babe. And like, I cried. Like, we started crying. We hugged each other. And it was just like all the connections that I've made have been really cool. And I love people. Like, I love making connections and just knowing people because you never know. Like, it's not even in like how do I benefit way. It's more in like dude, like if I go to Chicago, like I already know like 10 people like that I met through the internet there. And like let's say I have a free time, I would definitely hit up one of them and be like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because I just feel like we're so much more connected. And also like I feel like I've never been as proud to be Latina and Mexican American or Mexican. Like I think like social media, like it has its faults, it does.
Yeah.
But like man, like I've never been this proud. Like for so long I was so ashamed and I was so sad, or like I just didn't feel like who I was like authentically was good enough.
Yeah.
But thanks to social media, like I see myself now, I see, like I feel like we made it, right? And that's like really cool to see, like Grupo Frontera, like seeing them. Like I know the bass player from Grupo Frontera, like Brian, dude, he's always in the back vibing. I hope he hears this. But like I've known him for years. I mean, they used to come here to perform all the time, and to see that, like that transformation and to see them to where they are is like really cool. And I think like my influencing and blogging, like that's probably the coolest thing to see, is to see people come up and to see like how you, like even if you didn't like fully help them in their journey, like you were there for a part of it. And like
Yeah.
I think that's really cool, to be able to feel that and say that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like that representation is like really important, and it's one of the reasons why I started the podcast because I wanted to see more people like us, and doing like badass
Yes.
stuff. Like one of my goals for the podcast is like having like on like really weird, you could say, careers, or even like careers that we never really thought about. Like there's like this video and I talked about like with my boyfriend. He's the one who showed it to me. There's like this prompt maker, like stunt prompt maker. Like I didn't know like
Oh,
that was a
nice.
thing. So I was
Yeah.
like what? So I need to find a somebody who's Latina or like person of color who does that.
Yes.
And then like one of the things like like a rice, right, no, not rice, car race driver or something like those
Oh yes,
like that would
like
be so
yes,
cool.
that would be so cool.
Yeah, and I feel like just like the people that I want to have on my podcast too. Like I'm gonna be able to meet like people that I never really thought I would be able to
With
meet. So
me, yeah, for
so that
sure.
yeah, that's really cool. So before we end, can you share your social media handles, your website, like where can people find you, all of that?
Yeah. So you can find me on the internet, on the interwebs, the nuevalatina.com, and then I'm at the Nueva Latina everywhere.
Mm.
I have a Snapchat. I don't use it. I think I just don't vibe with it. But if that's your vibe, I'm Anali Martini on there. But yeah, everywhere the Nueva Latina. And then if you like really want to talk civil engineering of like that's your vibe, LinkedIn. I am a
Mm.
LinkedIn person. I really like talking to people about their engineering journeys and just being there for people because I feel like there's not a lot of mentors or I never had a lot of mentors
Yeah.
in the space and I'm available, ready to like help you in your career and your journey.
That's actually interesting that you mentioned that because in high school I actually did an internship for engineering, and my
Oh,
thing was
nice.
was going into civil engineering. But then that
That's crazy.
yeah, but the internship that I had, it didn't really help because for some reason I ended up going to the accountant department. So I was like, it kind of like, I was like, how are you helping me here?
How?
But
Yeah,
I
like how
didn't
does this work?
really, so I didn't really learn anything about civil engineering. But yeah, that's actually a career. Like if I would have known you by that time, I would have like yo, Anali,
Yeah,
can you help me
I
out
was
here?
like, yeah,
Yeah,
I would have been
so
like, you want to come out with me? I'll take you.
yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
so cool. So with that being said, thank you so much for being here.
Yay.
Congrats on your pregnancy. I'm so
Thank
excited for
you.
that.
I know. I can't wait to announce it. I'm really excited. I'm gonna announce it in a funny way. I love being funny. I think it's like the best thing and I don't take anything too serious. So I can't wait. Like so be on the lookout for when I announce it. It'll be a good time.
Yeah, yeah, I'm really excited for that. I'm excited for like the things that like projects, collabs, all of that. You're gonna be, the future, all of
Yes.
that, becoming a millionaire and all of that. So I'm super
Yes.
excited.
Yes.
So with that being said, thank you so much for being here. For those who are listening, don't forget to give us a review on Spotify or all Apple Podcasts. That really helps us out. And then if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, all of that because that also helps us out. And with that being said, Anali, thank you so much for being here.
Yes. Hey, thanks. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Bye, everybody.
Bye.